We also look at every school, because if you have not an overwhelming number school-wide, but if as a teacher you have one or two students in your class, and it can be very distressing to think, I really need to help these students and make sure that they're getting a great education and everyone else in class is getting a great education, but I don't feel prepared to do that. So we're looking at schools where there are high concentrations, but we also don't want schools where there are just a few students, for those few students to be lost in the shuffle.
And I think with that question, what you're asking is, we have noticed and seen the numbers, and we want to be able to support teachers academically, which is why strategically our department the last year and a half has worked with and alongside multiple departments. We met with accountability and assessment and research just last week. We meet monthly with special ed. I'm at the teaching and learning PLCs every other week, so that the capacity building that we're doing is not just focused on language learners, but supporting teachers so that they have that tier 1 instruction, so that no matter what they're teaching, they have the supports and tools equipping them to feel prepared to instruct. Because it's not just language learners that are setting off the alarm bells. We have situations that have happened since COVID with all different kinds of academic learning and behaviors that are affecting one teacher. So it wouldn't just be, one or two language learners. It's also behavior, cell phone use, and there's so many capacities. So our department has found success in mitigating the stress that a teacher might feel with someone that's learning English, with supporting them a proper way through our instructional coaching and changing what our endorsement would look like to support teachers, so that when the alarm bells do go off, they have a pause and say, but there's a plan.
Yeah. And Mr. Dunford, the other trigger where we hear those alarm bells go off is when a school is placed in targeted school improvement, TSI, for their MLs, because their multilingual learners are not making the progress they ought to be. That's a definite bell. That's a bell that goes off. We're like, okay, those are the schools. And so we've given every school that's in TSI a baseline amount of extra money. The baseline amount will help pay for an additional aid. And then on top of that, for every multilingual learner they have in their school, we've given them a per student proportional allocation of money, so that if you have more MLs in your school, you're going to get additional money on that. So that's how we've responded to that one alarm bell of being in TSI. If you're in TSI for your multilingual learners, that's a wake-up call, if you will, that, hey, we need to do extra support.
And that was before the data that we saw, but because we were noticing trends even when we had school closures, we did a lot of preparing for what we're seeing now. We kind of knew it was coming, so we started to prepare and to prep teachers and to involve ourselves into PLCs.
So I would suggest that one of the things we need to do now is, I'm hearing from the public, I'm worried that the increase in refugees is going to cause my child to have less of a quality education, because so many resources are going to have to be diverted to that need. I'm worried as a parent, and so we need to get the message out that we have the resources, we're meeting the need, and your child is not being harmed because we're meeting the need. I think that's a great need in our community right now, is to send this message out. This is what we're doing to meet the need, so that your child is in no way harmed by the influx of refugees. We welcome them, and here's how we're handling the situation so that your child still gets the top-notch education they can expect.
We're still making sure that you have the gifted and ALPS resources, and there's enough pie for it, and that's why we work with all of the departments the way we do.
We've got to send that message out somehow.
And I'd like to say, reading through the TSSA and land trust plans from the schools in my area, which is the West Jordan feeder system, I'm very heartened to see that a lot of the coaching is focusing on how to specifically help students of all abilities with specific ways to reach multi-language learners. And I thought, what a great way to spend those monies. And I like how individual schools are taking the initiative to coach their teachers and provide professional development so that the teachers are equipped. And they're also doing things like hiring an aide, or I guess I should say an ESP, that will be able to work with families and speak their language. And so I just wanted to say how much I appreciate individual schools taking initiative to move in a direction that will benefit all students, in my opinion.
I would add to just another alarm bell is that we listen, and our administrators of schools are constantly in touch with principals at the schools. That's an anecdotal alarm bell that when they're feeling overwhelmed or when they're feeling the pinch or the strain because of these things, we're often in touch with them, and we're able to look at additional resources. We've given additional resources to a couple of our high schools because of conversations where we've gone out there, we've seen the acute need, and we've given them support so they can work on credit recovery for our MLs, for Diploma Now programs, and we've been able to target in certain areas because of those conversations that our administrators of schools are having on a weekly, if not daily basis with our principals.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seems like there might be a conflict between what Lisa and Bryce were saying. Bryce was worried that resources were being diverted, and it was possibly adversely affecting the student, the other students, the non-ML students. Lisa mentioned that some of the schools are taking the initiative and using these limited funds to hire aides and do things specifically for the ML students, rather than doing things that they would do if they didn't have an ML student problem.
Well, these are funds. I think the TSSA funds are specifically to help get the school out of TSI status, which in the schools that I was talking about, they are in TSI status because of their multi-language learners and their special education students. And so the funds are specifically for addressing achievement and, growth in these populations.
They're meant for specific populations. They're not meant for the entire school.
I think in TSI, that's a school improvement protocol, we've allocated through our at-risk monies some additional support for our schools in TSI. Not to be confused with TSSA, which is for everybody. Schools can choose
Which
to
is
allocate.
what I was doing.
Yeah. Schools can choose to allocate TSSA to meet their unique needs. Not every school has the same needs, and so it's given to schools on an equalized basis. Everybody gets the same per student, but that school can then choose, with their input from their school community council and so forth, on how to allocate that based on their greatest needs. And schools are going to vary in that department. And so yes, there can be funds from TSSA designated to help of students, certain subjects.
I mean, having been on school community councils for years and years and years now, I've seen times where funds have been set aside or for programs specifically that would help the gifted kids in the school, or to help provide a music program for those students that are that inclined. It's the school determines based on their unique needs where they want to put funds. And I saw a few plans where they were putting some of their funds also towards helping the multi-language learners programs. I don't see that any different as helping the gifted kids too. It's just a
Where the need is.
unique need in their school.
And I also think many of those funds, at least in the plans I read, things encouraging like ESL endorsements, I believe bless every student in the class, because it gives teachers an arsenal of tools to relay a message. And I think there are all sorts of learners who benefit from those tools, not only ML students.
I might be wrong, but I think this is going to become a huge issue to the likes of what we had to experience with our mental health initiative and what we did for COVID. So I would really love to have this on our agenda at least quarterly, if not every other month, talking about what we're doing. I was introduced today with some amazing technology that we're using that you can actually record a video and push whatever language you want, and it even changes your mouth to go with that language. There's just some really cool things. And so I would really love to educate the board, which then would educate the public of what we're doing to help not only these kids, but every kid. And I just think that I would really love to become a leader in this, like we have in the other two huge issues that we had since I've been on the board. But I do have a couple questions that I would just like to get out on the table if I can get some clarification. I've heard that we have 25-year-old kids come into our schools. Can we identify
Yeah, that would be. We don't have 25-year-olds in our schools unless they're a coach or a student aide or a brand new teacher.
They're not students.
Qualification, they might be teachers.
Yeah,
So
they're not students.
if they don't come with a birth certificate, what are we doing to verify an age?
Yeah. Well, when they come, and it's rare that they come completely undocumented. They usually have some sort of age verification.
Because that visa's going to have something, right?
It's rare that they come completely undocumented with
They'll
no
have
age.
a passport, they'll have what is called an I-94, and that's the paperwork that's completed before they arrive through our agency's International Rescue Committee or the Catholic Community Services, and sometimes Asian Association. So they'll have an I-94 which documents their age, and we then place appropriately, which can then be difficult with graduation rates because we'll have a 17-year-old that is a senior, and so then we work on a plan of action for them as they transition out of the school.
So do we help them after that 18, 19 graduation age?
We suggest adult learning. Salt Lake Community College has been a very good support and resource when we help them, but they are not in school past the age-appropriate placement.
There may be the rare occasion where they even on the I-94 they've had to guess, and we know we have students whose birthday ends up being January 1st a lot because that's the default birthday that they'll give them if they have no idea. So we do have a lot of which is sad because they're not even in school to celebrate their birthday on January 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens from time to time. But to answer your question directly, we don't have 25-year-old students in there. And if they are, it's rare that we may have the 19-year-old graduating senior. That could be for a couple of reasons. Could be their parents didn't start them, they had a late birthday, didn't start them kindergarten until later, they were retained a year.
But you could have that with a Caucasian kid.
You could have it with, any of our students could have that.
And just to clarify too, our Caucasian kids also speak other languages, Russian and
Very much.
Ukrainian and things like that.
Good point.
So to, excuse me, so to clarify, it's very rare for someone to come with no documents. And we place someone in a grade that is age appropriate, not based on the last grade completed. So there's this mistaken notion that, well, someone comes in, they're 17, but they only finished 6th grade, so we put them in 7th grade. That is not how we place students. And then once they are of the age to graduate, they're a senior, then we do have programs, South Point, which is our adult high school resources with Salt Lake Community College, where we help transition students just like we would any other student who's looking for the next level of training, whether it's college, making sure they get help graduating from high school or other training. So I've heard that notion out there as well, that we have a lot of older students, but that is not the practice. That's not what we do. And on the rare occasion where a birthday is not clear, there are some other indications that we can use to make sure that students are properly placed. And it is amazing how many 25-year-olds we do have employed in the district, and I'm grateful for all of them, those of you who are listening, because we do have a young workforce.
That's my age. And the other mislabel I hear is these kids are coming into our schools and sexually assaulting all of our students. So do we have anything about crime rates about this? I verified this with Harriman PD, and they do not see this as an issue, but do we know of... I just am asking these questions because I'm hearing it from the community, and I want to put it
I
out
think
there.
it's safe to say we would concur strongly with Harriman PD in that we don't see a trend or an uptick in one demographic group over the other in any committing certainly any crimes, but even misbehaviors and other things.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to go over the last few slides, like starting at 25? 24, maybe? Yeah.
Okay, so in the last few slides, I just wanted to clarify where our English learners are coming from. So I want to point out that most of the students who are English learners in our school system are born in the USA. They are homegrown. It's that their families don't speak English at home, which is how they are identified for English Learner Services. Some of our students are immigrants. We classify them as an immigrant in Skyward if they have arrived in the U.S. within the last 3 years. So a student who is an immigrant in Skyward is a newcomer as of, within the last 3 years.
So I just want to emphasize that because I think there has been some misinformation, some misunderstanding, not willful information, but misunderstanding. And just continuing with what I was saying earlier, I want to emphasize what Brooke has just said, that most English learners, the assumption might be that when we talk about students registering, that English learners are all freshly arrived to the United States. And there are any number of reasons that would not be the case, and yet they would still qualify as an English learner.
Correct. Thank you.
So the data we were looking at earlier, like say, for instance, Harriman at 6.5% English learners, that doesn't mean that they're all brand new here.
Right.
In fact,
Right. So
Correct.
a large majority of them could have been born here.
So every minority student isn't an English learner, and every English learner isn't a recent immigrant, and every recent immigrant isn't necessarily in a category that you would assume. And so those are important distinctions to make because all of those numbers can get easily jumbled.
Ask for students in that blue category who were born in the United States but are still English learners. Do we see a different rate of language acquisition among them? Just in terms of culturally, they do have more access to English
I can't answer that off the top of my
outside of
head,
their house? Okay.
but I could look into it.
It's curiosity, nothing more.
All right, so the pink line, the pink purple line is the number of students who are immigrants, meaning that they have entered the U.S. within the last 3 years. And in this context, the immigrants are English learners. Not every student who is an immigrant needs to learn English. Some of them are already fluent when they arrive. But for this context, the English learners who are also immigrants.
Let me say that again to make sure I understand. This is a graph of immigrants who are English learners, not necessarily a graph of immigrants.
Correct. They have to meet both qualifications to show up in that pink line. And then the black line is the students who are English learners and refugees. And refugee is, again, as a legal status. And we can see here we have had a pretty low rate of students who are immigrants or refugees as English learners for a long time, and it has increased sharply just in the last 2 years.
And when you look at that data and you see the lull in 2019 and 2020, that's also nationally where there were no acceptances into the country. And then you see this uptick because they finally, released papers. And so there's mass entry because of the national change and shift.
And one other thing I wanted to point out is that we actually have more refugees than immigrants, and I wanted to call that out specifically because when we're talking about the profound changes that some schools may have seen, one of the things I would really like to focus on is students who are refugees coming in.
But if I can jump the gun a little bit,
Yeah.
the next graph you're going to show us says that there's more enrolled than are listed as English learners.
Exactly.
So we have several refugees who are not English learners.
Exactly. They already spoke English. They maybe have come from an English-speaking country. That's less likely than just being fluent upon arrival.
That's a 2.5 or lower to make the graph on the WHEDA score.
No, in order to be considered fluent, they would have had to have scored a 3.5 level or higher plus a 4.2 composite level.
And to look at these numbers closely too, we also have a lot of unaccompanied minors. So we have refugee students who are with families that are foster care in the time as well.
And to point out, this is a graph that shows the whole country and the trend of refugees coming into the country. So this is a national trend. Our local trends are mirroring a national trend. It's not special to us. It's happening everywhere. And most of our refugees are English learners. They will need English learner services. But a lot of them aren't as well. So I would say about, if I remember correctly, it's about a quarter of them are fluent upon arrival.
Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses.
It used to be the norm that more English learners were fluent, or more refugees were fluent entering our school system. That had changed this school year, where our largest increase in refugees have been refugees who have low speaking fluency. So that is a big change that happened very recently. And that's something to keep in your mind as you think about how to support schools.
What's the cost to the district for all the services provided to ML students, even their families, their parents, all the translators, interpreters, all the software, everything that's specific to ML? What is the cost to the district on that? And then the second question is, do we receive funding, either federal or state, for those costs?
Let me answer the latter half of your question first. We do receive funding from both federal and state resources to address these needs.
Partially address, or is it a full?
Well, it's I would say it's never it partially addresses, because we can always use more resources in this category. And so, as far as the first part of your question, we can work on a breakdown of the costs and some of the resources that are allocated specifically to English language learners, and provide that to the board in the near future, if you'd like.
These charts, kind of what Mr. Robinson was saying, to his point, the direction of these charts obviously is a little scary. And from a financial standpoint, if the state or the federal government isn't helping us address these increasing needs, we're going to have to start pulling those funds from other areas, and then it would have an effect
Well,
in other
entirely
parts of
what
the
happens
district.
because we are a federal entity of Title III. So under the Title III laws, these populations fall into that. And so the federal and state government look at the numbers and apply funding appropriately. So when you look at the differences across the district, we're receiving a significant amount of Title III funding to support the numbers that they see. And then as they watch the, refugee families that are moving in or unaccompanied minors, they then allocate additional funding on top of that specific to these populations in Title III and the Refugee School Impact Grants.
And we'd be happy to get you a breakdown of what we get from our Title III grants and our Refugee Impact Grants and other allocations that we do with, like, the Family Resource Center that we have in Harriman. I mean, we can get the board some information on that so they know what the resources are going there. And we have some.
Two of them tonight for that, so.
Yep. Yeah, you'll see on your bids approvals tonight, we've got some software and other things that are part of that. Part of the resources we're allocating to help this very issue.
This has been really helpful to just get good data and good information, because there is a lot of misinformation out there. So really appreciate that. It kind of sounds like the board's going to want another agenda item in the future to talk maybe more about resources and and things that we're doing. Am I hearing that correctly?
Well, these documents are now public, right? We can share them with,
Right. Right.
That's a good question.
I would say if you share the document, I would also suggest listening to the
conversation.
conversation, because it can be easy to get lost and not hear the distinctions among the various categories.
And if there are questions from constituents or other community members, employees, we'd be happy to help address and answer any questions that come your way as well.
And can I give a shout out to Ben and Brooke? They're exceptional when we have questions. So they just come right back with the answers on data.
We love working with Michelle.
Yes, they are
Absolutely
exceptional.
love
Thank
working with
you.
Michelle.
Thank you for being here, and we will discuss maybe more and let me know, or anyone on the executive committee know, if there's specific information that you want to see in the future or things you want to discuss, and we can put this on an agenda item again. So thank you. Thank you for being
I feel
here.
like applauding because it was amazing. Okay, we have Jordan Youth Symphony here to perform for us, and I think they have seats for us saved on the front row, if I saw right, so we can go out there and hear Jordan Youth Symphony play.
Do we need to be out now? Take a quick break.
6:10. I guess we have 5 minutes.
Okay.
I right, welcome. This is the Jordan School District Board of Education meeting. Today is April 23rd, 2024, and we are at the JTC South Building. And I will just introduce who's up here really quick, starting down at this end. We have Mr. Paul Van Komen, who is our board attorney. And then we have board members Bryce Dunford, Lisa Dean, Marilyn Richards, Nikki George, I'm Tracy Miller, Daryl Robinson, Brian Barnett. We have our superintendent, Dr. Anthony Godfrey, our associate superintendent, Dr. Mike Anderson, and our business administrator, John Larson. Thank you to all of those who are in attendance here tonight at our board meeting, both in person and those that are online. We appreciate you being here. We are going to start out with Mountain Ridge High School, and they will be doing our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have students MJ Darton, Sarah Varga, Hudson Wynn, Ryder Gatton, Laura Olson, Anna Elgren, Carson Bradford, Liv Christensen, and Siope Kinikini. Followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, we will have the Reverence by Carter Jackson, and then Celebrating Schools by Mackay Johnson, who is the SBO president at Mountain Ridge High School. So Mountain Ridge.
Thank you. We live the story we want to tell. Mountain Ridge High School gives every kid they enroll the opportunity to write their own story and choose their own path, if they have the courage to take it. The first steps we take outside our comfort zones as teenagers feel huge. But as we open our minds, we realize through effort that it is truly small. And at our school, we are provided with just about everything to prepare us for when we make that big jump. Mountain Ridge values student independence and creativity. Each of us are given the freedom to make our own choices and discover our voice and our passions. These opportunities are given to us through our sports teams, clubs, and the classes that we offer. I couldn't be more grateful for the change I saw not only in myself, but in the people around me as I went to Mountain Ridge High.
Hi, like Ms. Miller said, I'm Mackay Johnson and I'm the SBO president at Mountain Ridge High School located in Harriman. Mountain Ridge High School has accomplished a lot in the few short years it's been established. Some successes, accomplishments, and wins adding to our school legacy. Each year, starting from 2019, we've continually built upon the previous year and again grow from the last. Every year we choose a theme for our entire school year, and this year we chose Story of Our Lives. We chose this theme because we want our students to always remember Mountain Ridge as a chapter in their lives. Whether they are a sophomore starting their chapter, a junior who's right in the middle, or if they're a senior who's about to close their chapter, they can always look back and remember their place at Mountain Ridge. This year started off strong when we beat our rivals in football at their home. Then our cheer team took second in state. Our girls soccer team took region title this year. Our girls tennis team also took region title this year. Our DECA club had several students place for nationals in Anaheim, California, and our student government went to the annual leadership conference at Utah State and earned the best overall school out of 30 different high schools across the state. The award consisted of 3 categories: leadership, service, and teamwork. Moving on to some of our winter accomplishments, our boys wrestling team had several medalists at state, along with state champion Lane Kleinman. Our girls wrestling team also placed second at state, along with several medalists. We also had 3 swimmers medal at state this year, and our indoor percussion took first place at a competition hosted at our school. And our choir had 53 kids go to state, which was the record for most kids from one school to go to state. And our boys basketball team got academic All-State this year as well. Another accomplishment during our winter time was our Season of Scarlet. And you may be wondering, what even is Season of Scarlet? Season of Scarlet is throughout the entire month of December where our student government, students, faculty, and community members raise as much money as possible for one local Utah charity. This year, we chose to support For the Kids Foundation. They provide food for the kids in the Salt Lake Valley who wouldn't have it on the weekends otherwise. We did everything from odd jobs to hot cocoa night to a community bingo night, and we ended up raising more than we ever have before. We raised $109,479 for the Kids Foundation, which ended up being able to feed over 4,000 kids on the weekends for an entire month. December was a big month for Mountain Ridge, but it hasn't stopped there. We've continued to expand our legacy and write our story. This spring was our first time our boys volleyball team was a sanctioned sport, and they've been exceeding all expectations, and we can't wait to see where their season goes. Our girls lacrosse team has also been doing very well this season, and this is the third year our girls golf team has received academic All-State. We also have had 21 students be awarded academic All-State this school year. And one of our Sterling Scholar students, Gentry Leggett, made it to finals for her category, choir. Not only have we had some amazing student accomplishments, but some of our awesome teachers were recognized this year as well. Chris Stiles, our band director, was named the State PTA Teacher of the Year, and one of our math teachers, Wendy Solomon, was named State Math Teacher of the Month. We continue to build upon the story that is Mountain Ridge High School. With all the wins, successes, we grow and rise together. Our unity is what makes us strong, because together we are Sentinel Strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Many of us were on the board when Mountain Ridge first opened, and so it has been thrilling to see the school grow and achieve so much, be so successful and start new traditions. It's really been fun to watch. You've done a great job. Mountain Ridge is a great school. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We would like, first of all, everyone that's here with Mountain Ridge, students, faculty, parents, will you please stand up? Thank you. And we would like the students to come up. We've got a pin for you and would like to shake your hand. So if you can just come up and start down here on this end.
Good job. Yeah. Good to see you guys today. Good job. Hi. Good job. Hi. Hey. Yeah. Welcome. Good to see you. Hi. All right, thank you, Mountain Ridge, and thank you for the Mountain Ridge pins. And that was a very impressive list of accomplishments. All right, next we will do our resolutions of appreciation. Ms. Richards.
Whereas dedicated service to Jordan School District was faithfully and effectively performed, whereas they consistently and conscientiously executed their responsibilities with integrity, honesty, and loyalty. Be it therefore resolved that the Jordan School District Board of Education and District Administration declare appreciation for the outstanding service that was performed in the cause of public education, and hereby express our sorrow at the death of these valued friends: Linda Ray Blazard Gardner, School Lunch Manager; Susan Marie Locke, Teacher; James F. Schindler, Teacher and Consultant; and Sandra Lee Watts, Teacher.
Thank you. We are excited to have Region 6 PTA with us tonight. For those of you that aren't familiar, Region 6 is all of the PTAs within Jordan School District, and they are here to present some more awards. So we'd like to welcome Sonia Delani, who is the director, Jessica Navarro, who is the associate director, and Ann Howden, who is the awards specialist, to come forward.
Hello and good evening. I am here not only on behalf of Region 6, but on behalf of the state of Utah. I turned the microphone off. I'm so sorry. On the state of, for Region 6 and the state of Utah PTA. Every year, Utah PTA honors 30 individuals across the state of Utah in 10 different award categories for their outstanding volunteerism and service to Utah students in Utah schools. I have the lucky job of helping to judge and preside over that award process, and I get to do it for Region 6 as well. In Region 6, we do pass on awards to the state level, but we also feel it's important to recognize every individual that gets nominated for an award in our school district. So that's why we're here. This year we had 29 awards submitted for volunteers and educators in our Jordan District schools. And so we would like to recognize them for the probably thousands of hours that they dedicate to our students and in our schools. I'm going to proceed through the list and read everyone's names, and those that are here, we ask them to please come forward up here. And we'd like to recognize you with a small gift, and then I think the school board wants to shake your hands and take some pictures. And so we will proceed to that. I'd like to just hold applause until the end because we've got such an extensive list of individuals. So we'll go ahead and get started with Outstanding Administrator. We have Abe Yospi from Foothills Elementary School and April Thompson from Riverton Elementary. Our Advocacy Award, we have Stephanie Beck from Foothills Elementary. For our Development Award, Danielle Go from Fox Hollows and Laurie Jo McDonald's from Foothill Elementary School. For our Outstanding Elementary Educator, we have Chris Bernier from Foothills Elementary and Gina Noakes from Riverton Elementary. For our PTA Engagement Award, we have Jen Gallagher from Foothills Elementary and the Bingham High School PTSA. For the Inclusivity Award, we have Julie Stewart from Foothills Elementary. Outstanding Secondary Educator, we have Brett Nelson from Riverton High School, Chris Stiles from Mountain Ridge High School, and Mark Jensen from Bingham High School. The Spirit of PTA Award, we have Chantel Brown from Bingham High School, Heather Van Leeuwen from Jordan Ridge Elementary, Megan Wilding, Black Ridge Elementary, and Morgan Myers, Foothill Elementary. Scoot over, everybody. We're running out of room. For Outstanding Support Staff, we have Carolyn Wood from Riverton Elementary, Fabio Gonzalez from Foothills Elementary, Katie Gerke from Black Ridge Elementary, and Tricia Troster from Elk Meadows Elementary. For Outstanding Volunteer, we have Ashley Pack from Golden Fields Elementary, Camille Kidman from Riverton Elementary, Alyssa Tran from Copper Mountain Middle School, Casey Richens, Riverton Elementary School, Kimber Post, Foothills Elementary, Laurie Larson, Black Ridge Elementary, Mackenzie Farron, Columbia Elementary. So let's give all of these individuals a big round of applause for their volunteerism and teaching. Now, to switch hats from region to state, we had several people, individuals from our region nominees that are before you win an award at the state level. They will be recognized at the state level at the PTA convention on Wednesday, May 8th. May 8th at an awards breakfast, and then they will be presented to the general board meeting of the state PTA. And those individuals are Abe Osby, Stephanie Beck, Danielle Go, Chris Bernier, Jen Gallagher, Julie Stewart, Chris Stiles, Fabio Gonzalez, and Tricia Troster. We have an amazing reputation in the state of having outstanding nominees win at the state level every year. So let's give them a round of applause as well. On behalf of my region cohorts with me and on behalf of the state PTA, we are so grateful for the exemplary example. That wasn't what I wanted to say. We're so grateful for all of you and all that you do in our schools to support our kids. All of my students are Jordan School District kids, and I will be an incoming teacher this fall in Jordan School District. I'm coming out of retirement. So I thank all of you for what you do for all of our students. After the board shakes your hands and we take some pictures, we invite all of you and your guests to meet us out in the foyer for a small reception. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know what we would do without the PTA. You make such a big difference in our schools. Okay, we'll have you start down at this end. We'll shake hands, get you a pin, and then don't leave, because then we'll take a picture, and then you can go out there.
We lived in the same ward for a while.
You and I taught together year one.
Oh, yeah?
So we kind of bumped into each other along the way.
Congratulations,
Kevin.
Yeah, he is. Well done. Hey, you good job. Congratulations. How's your arm doing? Darn it. Hi, nice to meet you. Congratulations.
Hey, how are you?
Well done. What do you teach? What do you teach there? I teach English. To 10th graders?
I teach 10th, 11th.
Okay, I'll have to ask my son if he knows you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. Yes. Thank you. Jana, good to see you. Good job. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice to meet you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
They're not really getting into a good formation here. We're going to need a couple.
I can't see her, she can't see you.
Let me just push this down. Oh, good idea.
Everybody look at Sandy. Okay, thank you so much.
Kicking butt. I love it. $35
Thank you, PTA. We have a few other recognitions. Should we start with Board Member Robinson?
Sure, we would, as a board, like to recognize an amazing group of students from the middle schools, Fort Harriman Middle School and West Jordan Middle School. If we have students that have participated in We the People, can we have you come up and maybe put Fort Harriman on this side and West Jordan Middle on this side? Can you guys come up?
They didn't go to state.
Awesome.
You can turn and face the audience.
Yeah,
Thanks.
either way, they're better to look at than we are. We are so grateful to have these students come and be recognized by the board. These students, along with other students throughout our district, participated in the We the People competition. Fort Harriman actually won second in the state. They placed second overall in the state. Their Unit 5 team, is there any Unit 5 team here? They placed first, the highest point total for their unit. Their unit was, what rights does the Bill of Rights protect? And congratulations to these 23 students that competed for Fort Harriman Middle School and their coaches, Jordan Cook, Anna Cisneros, and Robert Logan. And are the instructors up here too? They should have come up. I should have invited them. West Jordan Middle School also was so if you're an instructor, come on up. They won third overall in state. Their Unit 4 team was recognized as with the highest score in their unit. And their unit the topic is, how have the values and principles embodied in the Constitution shaped American institutions and practices? Whoa, that's big. Congratulations to 25 students that participated from West Jordan Middle School. Their coaches, Alexa, May, and William Shields. Let's give them all a great hand of applause. And we would also like to have them come and meet the board. So come on up if we can form the line on this side. Congratulations. Grab a pen. Grab a pen. Congratulations. Grab a pen. Good job. Good job. There you go. Grab a pen if you'd like one. Congratulations. Congratulations. Grab a pen, you guys. Good work for you guys. Congratulations. Grab a pen. Congratulations. Grab a pen.
Well done, guys. Good job.
Ready to go?
Good job, buddy.
Congratulations. Grab a pen. Grab a pen.
Beautiful, perfect, love
Awesome.
it, thank you.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Grab
Thank
a
you
pen.
very much.
Yeah, can we get a picture of all the students and their advisors up here? Don't try to sit
Probably the same.
Do the dance. Where should we stand? These are awkward. I'm usually in the back.
Move this way. That's good. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Some more. Anybody else? Thank you for shoulder checking the whole time. Not even, thank you for shoulder checking.
Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate your hard work for We the People.
Several of us have had the opportunity to be judges for We the People at the district level, and I've actually judged at the state level one year too. It's a great program.
part.
It's a great program.
Yeah, it's amazing, the knowledge that they learn from that. Great program, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and one other recognition is for our Jordan Youth Symphony. We had the opportunity to hear them play for us out in the atrium tonight, and Jordan Youth Symphony did a fantastic job. If you're not familiar with it, it is a district-wide choir for our middle schoolers. It's an audition choir, so it's our, symphony. I don't know where I got that in my mind. Thank you, symphony. It is an audition symphony for our middle schoolers. So it's some of our best musicians from across the district, and it was a real pleasure to hear from them tonight. Are there any other board members that have a recognition? Okay.
I have a couple. I wanted to recognize, we had a team from JATC right here who is headed to nationals after winning a virtual reality video game writing competition. I didn't even know this existed, but pretty awesome. Also a huge congratulations to those who participated in state competition for HOSA. It's always really exciting to see that. Copper Hills Chess took gold at the Utah State Championship, which is very cool. And I wanted to give a shout out for a great production at Oakcrest Elementary of Newsies. They were so good. And it was really fun to have our own principal, Mr. Westwood, make his cameo as FDR. He did a great job. He told me he practiced for months at recess with the students. And then finally, Falcon Ridge just celebrated their Sweet 16. They had a great shebang. It was a really fun party, and they did an amazing job. Their community is really a spectacular group.
I'd like to just make a shout out to Unified Sports. Today I was able to go to the bocce tournament at Oakland Hills Middle School, and I really appreciate all of the special ed paras that support students and allow them to be able to be in different teams. And I loved seeing all of the student volunteers and the peer tutors and all of the other volunteers. It was just a really great event, and I love how unifying it is. It is called Unified Sports, and it really brings people together. So that was a great event.
Thank you. The others? Okay, I was able to attend 2 musicals these last couple of weeks at our middle schools. Adam's Family at Mountain Creek Middle School, Alex Waller, the director there, and Shrek Jr. at South Jordan Elementary, and Diane Whitroper is the director there. And so much work and effort goes into these musicals, but what a great experience for those students. So thank you to all of those that were involved. Would also like to recognize, we had a Native American community night where we recognized 25 Native American graduates from this year, and then also celebrated that culture, and that was a great night that a couple of us were able to attend. And then also our wellness team at the district put on a wellness night at Riverton High School, and that was a great lineup, a lot of great classes that were offered there for parents, to help parents learn how to better help their students to have better wellness. So thank you to our staff that put that on at Riverton High School. Superintendent, do you have a recognition?
Yes, I do. I'd like to recognize the Harriman High School Marching Band, Choir, and Orchestra, who represented not just Harriman High School, not just Jordan School District, but the state of Utah at they were official ambassadors for Utah at the National Vietnam War 50th year commemoration in Hawaii. And the board voted to approve that travel. So I thought it would be nice, and it was suggested by board members that we hear from Harriman High School about their travels and experiences. So I'll ask Mr. Kornberg to speak to that and introduce anyone else who's going to give us a little taste for what they experienced.
It's going to be really short. So first of all, I just want to thank the staff, boosters, faculty at Harriman High School to get 4 plane loads of students on an airplane and head to Hawaii is an undertaking in and of itself. I would have brought more with them, but if you know performing arts, we also have a concert at the Bravenel Hall. We're getting ready for the music dance theater, but I did bring one of my favorite students, Connor Price, to talk to us. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, it was bigger than what I thought, and more emotional than I thought it would be. It was a great place and time to be there. But I'm going to let Connor talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. Q. All right. Hello, my name is Connor Price. I'm drum major for the Harriman High School Marching Band. As you know, we recently returned from a performing arts trip to the island of Oahu in Hawaii. We took 220 students plus numerous staff to occupy 4 plane loads of marching band, choir, and orchestra students in order to celebrate and honor our Vietnam veterans. And for this, I would like to extend gratitude to the school board for supporting this trip and making us the first in our district to travel overseas for a trip like this. This trip was an incredibly invaluable experience for myself and countless other students, and the highlight so far of our high school experience. On our trip, we were able to firsthand experience Polynesian culture at the Polynesian Cultural Center, learn about island life and cultural values in Hawaii from the wonderful people of Hawaii, and most importantly, honor our Vietnam veterans for their sacrifice in serving. Our marching band was specifically invited by the Department of Defense in order to properly honor these veterans, and we did so by marching down the streets of Hawaii. Before we took to the parade, though, we were addressed by the commander of the Pacific Fleet, Admiral Stephen Kohler. He talked about sacrifice made by these troops and how they were treated by American citizens upon their return. One of the other drum majors for the marching band, Eason Jetty, then gave a speech following Admiral Kohler, where he mentioned the sacrifice of those soldiers who fought for peace, and in some way, we too felt the pain of loss. This year, as we took all these performing arts students, we were without our band director, who had been with us from the beginning. Mr. Hernandez has been away for his health, recovering from a severe cancer, and has been fighting and making his own sacrifice. Mr. Hernandez was the incredible band director our program needed and was given. He was an incredibly talented and loving teacher for many high school and band students. In the short 2 years he taught at Harriman, he quickly became loved by countless students. Following his absence for his health, our marching band was able to step up with the help of our amazing staff and proudly represent him, our high school, our district, and the state of Utah in the Vietnam Veterans Day Parade. Thank you again to the school board for making this trip possible and supporting performing arts at Harriman High School.
If I may, he's caught me. Raymond Hernandez is no longer a band teacher fighting stage 4 cancer. And the last time I saw him was at Red Rocks competition, standing on that track with his arms in the air. He is so missed. I wish he'd have been with us. So the sacrifice has been smaller than a soldier, but it has been amazing. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate hearing that report. All right, we are now on to our public comment portion of the meeting. And as a board, we welcome and encourage public comment. This is our chance to hear from the public on things that we have on our agenda and then also not on our agenda. So, and we'll take comments right now on things that are not on our agenda. And just like to remind everyone, we'll give you 3 minutes to speak, and we do not take public comment on personnel issues. So if it's something having to do with a specific individual, we ask that you email the board for that. And then we do take comments in person first, followed by in-line comments, although we don't have any comments that have come in online this time. So we will start out with Elizabeth Yuri, and then followed by Tom Yuri.
Sorry.
Hi, I am Elizabeth Uri. I'm a junior at Bingham High School. Work like an underdog, think like a champion, behave like a friend. This is the long-held motto of my favorite program at Bingham High School, and this program is being removed, despite its benefits as an academic curriculum. I love this program for many reasons: lifelong friends, respectful discussions at tournaments and in class, and my ability to express my opinions while also learning how to speak well in front of people. If I didn't love this program, I wouldn't have given up so many Fridays and Saturdays to participate in it, and I wouldn't be here today talking to you. The debate program is being ended by my administration due to my administration's inability to find a new debate coach or teacher. In an email sent out 4 minutes before I, as a future senior, was set to pick out my classes, debate hopefully being one of them, Bingham High School's administration explained that the debate program had been discontinued due to being, quote, unable to find a willing and qualified teacher/coach for the position, end quote. Normally, I'd take this email at face value and accept that my future in debate simply did not matter to my administration and that no one was willing to work the long hours for our program. However, due to past rumors about debate being possibly shut down, I decided to look further. Yesterday, when both my mom and I looked up Bingham High School jobs on Google, only 2 were listed: a part-time office assistant and a nutrition student assistant. It seems funny to me that although the position for a debate teacher or coach was open, it was not in fact listed online. Let me ask you all here today, if the dance teacher position was open, would that be listed online? Would the football coach position be listed online if we didn't have one? Yes, it would. Which begs the question, why then was the position of a debate teacher or coach not listed online? I understand that the need for a debate coach was presented to our English and social studies teachers, but I feel that the search for a coach should not reach farther than our own school hallways, therefore showing a lack of effort made by my administration. Debate teaches public speaking, critical thinking, and research skills. These skills are often lacking in high school students' curriculum, as other programs do not focus on these abilities enough to develop them for our country's future. A few notable speech and debate alumni that now help our country are Oprah Winfrey, Stacey Abrams, and Samuel Alito. These are just 3 of the many, many influential faces that now help our American public, and they graduated from speech and debate. Debate is a necessity at Bingham High School, and it needs to be put back with support from Bingham's administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Now Tom Uri.
Good evening. My name is Tom Uri, and I am here to address the apparent cancellation of the debate program at Bingham High School, as my daughter Ellie has just spoken about. My daughter's participated in this debate program since the 9th grade, and she's going to be a senior next year. Unfortunately, we've watched Bingham's debate program kind of deteriorate and flounder this last 2 years due to an extreme lack of effort, with this year's coach apparently sometimes not showing up for practice for like 2 weeks at a time. Yesterday, my wife went to finalize our daughter's schedule on Arena's scheduling, and this was the first time that it was noticed that the debate was not offered as a class. And there's a debate class teacher for a class period, and there's a debate coach, which can be the same person, and sometimes they're different. In this case, they've had 2 different people filling these positions. My wife called the assistant principal, Mr. Wallace, to ask about the state of the debate class, why it wasn't being offered. And she was informed that they didn't have a teacher to coach or a coach for next year, and that they couldn't offer the class without a teacher. He said they had a few applicants that had all withdrawn their applications when they were contacted about the details of the job. My wife checked the Jordan School District Human Resources Department website to see what the parameters of the job listing were, to see if we knew of anybody that we might be able to ask that might have the qualifications for the position. As Ellie mentioned, to her surprise, the debate teaching and coaching positions weren't even on the site. Then yesterday, just minutes before rescheduling opened, we received an email from Bingham administration stating that they had discontinued the debate class and program for the time being. When we checked the district employment website today, the debate teaching teacher posting had been reposted, but stating that you had to be a licensed hourly high school teacher, which we have since been told was not an actual requirement of this position. So the job posting is incorrect and has not been posted continuously since the administration was aware that they had the need for a new debate coach. To say the least, we were disappointed that so little visible effort has gone into or continues to go into the search for a new debate coach. versus what we believe would go into finding a coach for a popular sporting or dance program. In our discussion with Bingham's principal today, we suggested broadening the search by reaching out to the Bingham community directly, not just listing it on the website, and which gratefully he did via Skylert this afternoon. In today's world of campuses, college campus is full of safe spaces and trigger alerts. The high school debate program can be an excellent way to prepare students for the real world by letting them be exposed to more than just their opinions. Isn't this what our goal should be for the upcoming generation? What better way to focus than to focus on creating a great debate program? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That is all that I have signed up, unless I'm missing anything. We're good? Okay. Okay, that concludes our public comment period. Thank you so much. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I move that we approve the consent agenda items. A, board minutes. B, Teacher and Student Success Act plans for 2024-25, School Land Trust plans for 2024-25, 2023-24 Land Trust Plan amendment for Mountain Point Elementary School, and LEA specific licenses.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Dean, second by Ms. Richards. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, and thank you to all of our school community councils and principals for all of their hard work on TSSA and land trust plans. Can I get a motion to accept consent agenda items?
I move that we accept consent agenda items. A, expenditures. B, financial statements. C, personnel, licensed and education support professionals. D, recommendation to issue certificates for home instruction. And E, non-compliance report.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Ms. Dean, second by Mr. Robinson to accept the consent agenda items A through E. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to our bids. Can I get a motion for the first one?
I move that we accept the bid for Harriman High School HP Chromebooks and Google licenses.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Dean, second by Ms. Richards to approve the bid for HP Chromebooks and Google licenses. Is there discussion to that motion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. That motion passes unanimously. Let's take B and C together. Can I get a motion for that?
I move that we accept language and culture services, English language learning software grades K through 6, and English language learning software grades K through 12.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Dean and a second by Ms. Richards to approve the bid for English language learning software grades K through 6 and English language learning software grades K through 12. Is there discussion to that motion?
I had a question in our previous meeting about funding, and it wasn't 100% clear whether these types of things are fully funded by outside entities, state government, grants, federal government, or whether or not the district had to pull money, for example, from its general fund. Do we know?
Mr. Larson, do you have an answer to that?
Both of these software purchases are coming from two separate grants outside the district. So we've got English Learner software grant as well as the Enhancement for At-Risk Students grant. So they're both coming from state funding sources, not district.
Fully funded from state sources. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any additional discussion? Okay, thank you. All in favor of approving the bids for the English language learner software grades K through 6 and the English language learning software grades K through 12, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Can I get a motion for D?
I'll make the motion to accept the bid for teaching and learning skill struck licenses.
I'll second.
A motion by Ms. Richards, second by Ms. Dean to approve the bid for teaching and learning skill struck licenses. Is there discussion to that motion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of approving the bid, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. That motion passes unanimously. Let's take E and F together. Can I get a motion there?
I move that we approve the bid for insurance services, group voluntary dental, and group voluntary vision.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Dean, second by Mr. Barnett to approve the bids for group voluntary dental and group voluntary vision. Is there discussion to that motion?
This is, I notice it mentions that it's a zero cost to the district. It's just a completely opt-in opportunity for the employees, and they would self-fund that. Yeah, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Do we get some kind of cost reduction since we're a large entity? Is that?
Yes, and that's.
So employees are paying less of a premium by getting it through the district as an entity rather than finding it on their own.
That's the idea, and that's why we put it out to bid as a service for employees, as an option for them if they're looking for a dental or vision plan. Of course, it's voluntary, so they're welcome to utilize a spouse's plan or family member's plan, or just find one on their own. This is just an option for them should they desire to participate in it.
Okay, thank you. Is any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the bid for group voluntary dental and group voluntary vision, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. That motion passes unanimously. And can I get a motion for the last bid?
I'll make the motion for facility services and the modernization of an elevator at Oker Hills Middle School.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Richards, second by Mr. Barnett to approve the bid for elevator modernization at Oker Hills Middle School. Is there discussion to that motion?
Do we have other schools that were built with this design in the same condition of their elevators?
Mr. Thomas, would you like to come forward and answer that?
If you're going to come to our meetings, you got to speak.
It's okay. Can you repeat the question? Are there other
Just
designs?
wondering if this school has the same design, I think 3 or 4 other schools.
It
Are there
does.
elevators, and have we already updated those? Are there elevators in similar?
We have, to a certain extent. I mean, I think Oker is the oldest of that. It's the original elevator, and like at South Jordan Middle, I believe, has it. Joel P. Jensen, it's the elevator that provides ADA access to the Kiva. So this is the oldest middle school, and we're just having a hard time finding parts. So it's just going to be a modernization, and they're not going to replace the whole elevator, but everything behind the walls and up in the ceiling, and they're going to do kind of a remodel inside the elevator as well. So over time, I guess to answer your question, yes, we'll have to replace or at least modernize the others as well.
But we might see more of these.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It hadn't occurred to me that we have elevators in our buildings, but thinking about it, it obviously makes sense. I asked my son, who attends Riverton High, I said, is there an elevator at Riverton High School?
Yeah.
And he said, yes, but it's only certain people can access
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the bid for elevator modernization at Oker Hills Middle School, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that passes unanimously. Okay, we are now on to our budget hearing. So I will turn the time to Mr. Dunford and then Mr. Larson.
You can't have a large, complicated budget like we do without needing to make some adjustments and tweaks as more information comes in and all of that. So try as we might, we submit a budget in June, and then changes occur. We made a decision years ago, rather than just approving all of the amended budget changes throughout the whole year, we would do it 3 times a year. We recently did that in December. This is our second one, and then we will have a budget review in June at the end of the fiscal year. So if you'll look on board docs, there just aren't a whole lot of changes, but some things have come in, mostly revenue, as we have gained more information from the state about incoming revenue. So I will turn the time over to Mr. Larson to give a brief review, but this is, I just want to remind the board that quite often we'll tentatively approve something that is a budget change. This is the moment you now have a voice to say, yes, I approve that budget change. We are asking for a vote on the amended budget as we have made it. There's not a lot, and Mr. Larson will cover the rest of those.
Thank you. So I'm going to go down the list here on each of these items and just describe some of the changes. But in general, the April budget hearing changes are reflections of changes made by the legislature for the current year. We received just because of the timing and the complexity of how everything works, we received our actual allocations from the state just a couple months ago, what we would know. So much of what we're doing in the June budget hearing are estimates, and so now we're truing those up and making them match what they are. Another big part of this is carryover funds that we thought would be spent last year that were not, bringing those over both for grants as well as district funds and federal funds as well. And lastly, the April budget hearing is the one where there's a painstaking process going through account by account, individual by individual, to make sure that everybody's salary benefits are all correct, and that we have accounted for the changes in personnel. With a large organization like ours, there's certainly changes that occur between June and April. And so we're making those changes now and reflecting those. So I'll start at the top with local sources. The major change with local sources is going to be interest. Our interest revenue has increased quite a bit. We're adjusting that $5.5 million up. State sources, like I described earlier, this is bringing in many of the carryover in the state grants. I'll just highlight a few of these, but special education, $9.8 million, CTE, $5.7 million, EARS, that's the enhancement for at-risk students, $3.9 million, preschool, $3.7, and the list continues. DLI, educator salary adjustment, teen centers, gifted, talented, BTS arts, it goes on and on. So there's quite a bit of changes there in the state area, totaling $37.8 million increased revenue.
Question on that?
Yeah.
So last June, we anticipated a certain amount for all of these areas that you just listed.
Yes.
And we found out within the last couple of months that there is a lot more available.
Well, either more available or carryover from funds we thought were going to be spent from last year that were not. And so now as we're going through account by account, we're bringing those funds forward and recognizing them in the budget. So it's a combination of both of those.
So for example, on the special education,
Yes.
what was the amount on that one that is additional?
$9.8 million.
So we have close to $10 million that we didn't think we had available, and now we do for special education?
And truing up the cost of, or the the funds from the state, yes. Yeah, so special ed, the annual amount that we thought would be there and the annual amount that we are now seeing is going to be 9.8 million higher. And then we'll also budget the associated costs later on down below. So because special ed is considered a restricted grant that we can't utilize for any other purpose, the revenue and the expenditures match so that there is no net impact or balance for us to tap into, say, for driver's ed or any other purpose. It has to be left alone. And so those funds are isolated by themselves, and then anything that is not utilized this year will just roll into the next year, because it's one grant rolling into a new grant, rolling into a new grant, just year over year over year. And those grant amounts will change and go up with our enrollments as well, and students identified with those needs, the funding will then increase for those. Federal changes, the big change here is really the ESSER grant. There's other grants, but it is by far the largest in the federal category. Moving on to so that means then from June, we were changing the revenues then by 52.9 million with all of those combinations of impacts together. Expenditures then.
One more follow-up question, sorry,
Sure.
John.
No problem.
Let's say that last June there were some things we wanted to do for special education. Just as an example, hire more teachers or give incremental raises to these teachers who are doing a really difficult job. But back in June, we said we don't have the funds to do that, or we're not sure if we're going to have the funds to do that. Are you saying that we have $9.8 million that we can start doing some of those things that we thought about doing, but we weren't sure if we could do them?
Yes and no. Last year, there was some changes made for special ed for that purpose, to help address some needs and utilize some funds. But it's also this rolling plan of things moving forward. So the director of special ed in all of these programs and grants are watching those funds to see where it's going and what they might be able to do and planning ahead. The budget's just trying to catch up to it. We do in the June hearing, all of these grants are assumed to be spent in the current year. And we do that for a couple of reasons. One is because that is the current year. But another reason is that when we budget then the following year, the directors then go through a process of identifying, wait a minute, is my grant sufficient to cover my needs or not? Is it short or is it higher? Is the annual allocation matching up? So by putting all of it in the current year to be spent, when we do the next year budget, that analysis can happen independent of the carry forward, potential carry forward. That way someone is truly able to plan their program and address the needs they have. If we try to budget a carry forward ahead of time, that will muddy that up, and then somebody could find themselves into the situation of counting on carry forward permanently, which could then get them in trouble when funding at the state level does not change and yet costs increase. So we have it situated this way intentionally for those purposes. I wouldn't say that there's just $9 million sitting there that could be utilized. We do have carryover in special ed, absolutely, and we are looking at that and spending it down. This is a topic for the state as well. Statewide, special ed has come up, but that is being addressed. I know I've been in meetings with the special ed director and our accounting folks talking about that and the plans that are being made and addressing needs throughout the district. I am constantly working with them on positions that they need for students who have needs and services to be addressed. And so we're hiring those positions to do that. And when we do that, I'm going back and saying, yes, you have those funds to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in the expenditure category, it is interesting that the instruction area came out, to me, this is fairly close, that the instruction came in, last June we said 410 million, and it's now at 408 million. Given the size of that, that's, in my opinion, pretty close. That's nice. Then we have these support services. These support service areas do tend to be some of these grant areas as well, because we have many grants that support student areas as well as our instructional staff areas. So I'll just address a couple of those on the support services for students. The educator salary adjustment, if you recall last year, the legislature had allocated additional funds, a substantial additional funds for the educator salary adjustment. That was not done within the budget name by name. Remember, we do that in the April budget hearing. So that change is being allocated here from that grant, the educator salary adjustment grant, into this area of 2.2 million. Let's see, we have preschool and a few other grants, EARS, the enhancement for at-risk students as well. Moving down, we have instructional staff. This one again, the largest one is the federal ESSER grant, which we anticipate to be utilized this year. It looks like all of the federal COVID money will be finished this year, except maybe $200,000 is our hope. We're that close on it. We have the Title IIA grant in this support instructional area as well, plus DLI, gifted, talented, CTE. District administration we had the portrait of a graduate amount being added in to this area, and then some adjustments for the staffing for the changes in cost for that. School administration was mostly due to the changes in salary and benefits as we analyze those name by name. I'm getting into some small stuff here, so I don't know. We did have a reduction in both operation and maintenance, as well as transportation, due to some allocations that were there for contingency purposes, not knowing what utilities and fuel would do for the year. And then lastly, I'm going to come down to this bottom area. There is a new accounting rule that we needed to follow that was not originally budgeted last year, so that has now been budgeted. And so you'll see some principal and interest as we make payments on prior agreements for subscription-based assets. That's a new accounting rule that just was implemented at the end of last year. So we're adding that now into the budget as well. all told, these budget changes do bring us much closer to a net zero operation budget. We're showing a difference of approximately $1.6 million of expenditures greater than revenues. I will say that due to the nature of a budget where you can't spend above it, which is by statute, that means that this is kind of setting, I'll say we're expecting the results to be better than this, because the budget itself is inherently assuming everything is spent when you know that everything can't be spent. So the results will be better than this. Oh, if I may, I saw him earlier, but I can't see him now, but Jason Mott deserves a lot of credit. Jason, would you stand? Put you on the spot. Jason deserves a lot of credit for the budget, the projections, forecasts. He has put in a ton of work and done a fantastic job working hard to go through all of this. Now, of course, he's not Superman. He has other people that help. But he orchestrates this, and he's overseen it. And so I just want to give him credit. He's done a great job for us, and I very much appreciate Jason.
Thank you. I will take a motion, then we'll go to public input, and then we'll come back to any discussion by the board.
President, I move that we adopt the, she just asked for a motion first. I move that we approve the amended budget for the 2023-24 fiscal year.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Dunford, second by Mr. Barnett to approve the amended budget for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak to this? Okay, please come forward. And if you will please state your name.
Hello there, my name is Eric Harper. I am pleased to be here. Just out of curiosity, what will this amended budget mostly go towards in terms of like the school, in terms of like the district? This is like, okay.
Thank you. Do you want to respond to that, Mr. Larson?
Mostly it's addressing changes in grants that have occurred. So recognizing that we've received grants and then recognizing the cost associated with those grants, as well as recognizing changes that personnel have changed over the year. Someone may have retired and someone else has been hired. So we're making those adjustments at this time within the budget.
Okay, thank you. That's
Now,
all.
to answer your question, the vast majority of our budget goes to people. Teachers, aides, administrators. Most of the money goes to people.
Okay, thank you.
And on top of that, most of that goes directly to instruction. It's our highest cost. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we will go back to discussion by the board. Any discussion from the board?
I saw a hand.
Oh, was there another hand? Did I miss someone?
Yeah.
How many of you are here for classes? I think we've had a few students here. Welcome, it's good to have you here.
Please state your name so you can receive extra credit.
Hey, my name is Joshua Lamont. Just also out of curiosity, what is the proposed budget amount for next year's special education, if you know?
I don't have that in front of me, just special education isolated by itself.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm going to guess. Well, I'm not even sure I should venture a guess. It entails a lot of local, state, and federal funds all combined, including Medicare funds. It's pretty large, It's very large, 50, 60 million.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Our budget is found online. Anyone can look at it and see exactly where we spend our money.
Okay, back to discussion by the board. Is there any further discussion by the board? And I will just add, not only is our budget online, we have a report every single month at our school board meeting, a line item, every single expenditure in the entire district. That's all open and transparent to the public.
That report is available to the public, not just to the board? That line by line expense? Okay.
Okay, all in favor of approving the amended budget for the 2023-24 fiscal year, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to our next one, and that's approving the calendar for the 2025-26 school year. Dr. Anderson, do you have anything to say on this one?
Thank you, President Miller. Yes. The calendar is one of the most visited sites and downloaded apps we have, or at least the documents we have, aside from the Supercast, of course. Supercast aside, the calendar is very important to a lot of people. Families literally plan their lives around it. It's not uncommon for me to get inquiries from parents and students 2 or more years out about whether or not we've got a calendar down the road, because people plan around their vacations and their reunions and so forth. And for those juniors and seniors in the audience, this calendar is for the 25-26 year, so it won't impact you, but any sophomores or 9th graders out there, this would impact them. And so the calendar committee has looked hard and long at the 25-26 school year. They presented 3 options to the public. Those were surveyed, and more than 7,000 patrons participated in the survey. There were 3 options, one that started in early August, one that started in middle August, and one that started in late August. And after the survey results that the board received earlier in, is that my time?
Your time's up.
Your time's up. I'm just kidding.
Paid by the bell.
We'll give you a little longer.
You can finish.
All right. I think my mic still works.
In the end, she will take them off. But,
no problem. So after surveying this, the public sentiment regarding the calendars was mostly in favor of them starting in the middle of August. That was what was presented to the board earlier today, and that is the recommendation from the calendar committee moving forward. Now, I want to point out the calendar committee is comprised of many stakeholder groups. It's chaired by Mr. Olson, who does a superb job, but it's also represented by 6 parents, 1 from each feeder system. It's represented by several employee groups, including our employee JESPA groups and our UEA groups. It's also represented through nutrition services, transportation. A few administrators sit on this committee. And together this committee and different viewpoints and different stakeholders, they go back and forth each year about the merits of the calendar, when school should begin, when it should end, and they come up with options that are viable that fit within not only state law, but our own policies, and also what makes sense for parents and students. And they come up with options. Those options go out to the public, and that's why we're here tonight to recommend the 25-26 calendar. And again, the recommendation is that we adopt the calendar that starts in middle August.
Hey, thank you. I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 25-26 school year calendar with the mid-August calendar with the high school date change in November.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Ms. George, to approve the calendar for the 25-26 school year, and that is with the high school parent-teacher conference date change in November. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address us about the calendar? Okay, seeing none, we'll go back to discussion by the board. Any discussion from the board?
Question on the 6 parents that were involved. How were those parents selected?
They are selected on a rotating basis, so we don't have complete turnover each year. So we each year there'll be two. It's a 2-year term, and they come up on a rotating basis. They're selected by from the board members in that area with input from the school community council and PTAs in the areas that they represent.
So if someone were interested in participating as a parent, what would they need to do?
I think the best thing to do is contact either the calendar committee or the school board member in your area and let them know, because the recommendations ultimately come from the school board members, and we are always looking for interested people. We have had a few that have been on the calendar committee that have expressed interest or questioned the calendars in the past, and they've come on the calendar committee, and it's been great, very insightful for them, and they've been great additions to the committee.
Furthermore, we have a couple of people that were on the calendar committee and then ended up on the school board.
So beware.
Yeah. The committee.
Is that a change, having board members recommend committee members? I don't think that's happened.
Policy says PTA, but we've always considered board members with.
Policy says a board member with input from the PTA and school committee
We
council.
just voted on, or approved members just a month or two ago.
We have to approve
approved,
it.
but not recommended.
But it was my area, Brian and I's area, and we were asked for names.
Well, mine was the time before, and I wasn't.
Because it was you. You said that the November change was parent-teacher conferences. It's actually the pre-ACT and high school college prep day.
You're right, thank you for
Just
that
in case anyone-
clarification.
It was
Sorry.
on Veterans Day, and we moved it a day off, just so that we can celebrate veterans on Veterans Day.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the calendar for the 25-26 school year with the change for the ACT day in November at our high schools. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion passes unanimously.
Have a new calendar.
And now we have a calendar for the 25-26 school year. You can start planning your vacations. Okay, now we have a recommendation to approve our Portrait of a Graduate and Strategic Plan documents. This is a process that we have been working on for the past 6 months, starting out with a huge survey out to our community with a lot of feedback into what our community wants and wants our graduates to have, what skills they want our graduates to have, and also what things they want us to focus on as a district. And we sorted through all of that community feedback, both through survey and through focus groups, and determined and developed a portrait of a graduate and then a strategic plan for our district based on what it is that our community would like to see. And our strategic plan is going to be for the next 5 years of things that we will be focusing on as a district. And we have final documents for our portrait of a graduate and strategic plan online, and that's what we are voting to approve that tonight. Dr. Godfrey, do you have anything to add to that?
Just that I appreciate the work everyone's done, and there's been a lot of work on part of a lot of people, and the board has really genuinely engaged in every stage of this. So I'm really excited to see this move forward.
Thank you. And there was up of stakeholders that included parents, students, teachers, administrators, just a wide-ranging group that helped kind of guide and move this forward. All right, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the Portrait of a Graduate and Strategic Plan documents.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. George, second by Ms. Richards to approve the Portrait of a Graduate Strategic Plan documents. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to address us on this? Yay! That's how I feel too. Okay, we'll go back to any discussion by the board. All right. I do. Okay.
I just appreciate all of the work that's gone into this, specifically for Ms. Miller and Ms. George. They've been on all of the committees and very involved, and I just appreciate all the time. Thank you.
Amen
And thanks
to
for
that.
listening to us.
Yep.
Thank you. It's been a very good process, long process, involved tons of people. So thank you. All right, so we have a motion to approve the portrait of a graduate and strategic plan documents. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, great. That passes unanimously. We are very excited to have these approved. Thank you. And we will be letting the community know a lot more about it. So we will move into our launch phase and our implementation phase, and are excited to introduce this to the community and let you know what your feedback has helped us develop and helped us really determine what our direction is going to be for the next several years. So thank you. We're excited about that. Okay, next we have a recommendation to approve the sale of the Falcon Ridge excess property. Ms. Richards.
Yes, as you may recall, we've discussed this several times. We had some excess property at the Falcon Ridge Elementary site, and we put that up for sale. And tonight, we as the Facilities Committee are recommending that we approve the land purchase sales agreement as you've seen on board docs.
Hey, thank you. Mr. Thomas, do you have anything to add? Good? Okay. Okay. I will take a motion.
I would like to make the motion to approve the land purchase sales agreement as it's shown on board docs.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Richards, second by Mr. Robinson to approve the CW land purchase sales agreement. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address us on that? Okay, see none. Back to discussion by the board. Any discussion or questions?
When the district sells a piece of property, where does that money allocated? Does it just go back into the capital fund? Is that?
Yeah, we would, one of the budget adjustments we'll look to do is to show money coming in on the sale of the property. It'll probably be on next year's budget, as we don't know that this will occur this fiscal year, but it'll show up in the capital projects fund, so then the board can utilize those funds for other capital projects in the district, whether that be land or building, either one.
And that's by statute. We're not able to put it into the general fund, for example, if we wanted to.
I don't know that that's by statute. It's just that we're selling a capital asset, and so it feels more appropriate in the capital projects fund, because it was capital funds that purchased it, so the sale would go back there. I don't know that I could point to a statute on that, but I think accounting rules would point to that it should be back to the capital fund. Otherwise, you might run into a situation where somebody may want to sell a building or something in order to give a bonus to employees, and it wouldn't match up. It wouldn't be appropriate financially or accounting-wise.
Is there further discussion or any questions? All right, all in favor of approving the CW land purchase sales agreement, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. All right, superintendent's report. Dr. Godfrey.
I just want to quickly report on the foundation banquet that was held last week, Wednesday evening. It was really exciting to see another wonderful batch of educators honored. We had 18 this time, which is more than ever before, which was a long, fun day on the bus honoring all of them. As we announced that to them, $1,000 for each of them, a nice banquet, a video montage put together by the communications department, and a tremendous job by the foundation staff putting that event together. And Amanda from KSL was tremendous as a host, as an MC. And it's just a wonderful reminder of the great stories out there. students were honored with scholarships, students who'd overcome very difficult circumstances. And our principal of the year, Mike Glenn, was also honored. So there are just some really exciting things that happened at that event. And it's one I always look forward to. So bravo to everyone who was honored that evening and to everyone who put together such a wonderful night, including the foundation board and the sponsors who make it possible. And of course, the support from the Board of Education that makes the foundation possible. So everything just gets better and better with that event. And it was one to remember. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, committee reports and comments by board members. Does anyone have something to report on?
I do.
Okay.
If you're listening to this and you are a debate coach, please contact Bingham High School. We cannot lose the debate program at Bingham. I was on the debate team at Bingham High School, so I just would love to see that
I
program
have
continue.
a son that was on the last Bingham debate team to win state. He was on that team.
Do you need a part-time job there, Bryce? I'd love to do it, but sorry.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
I think you could do it for free.
I do have
They
just one
debate at
thing.
Bingham.
Yes. The Facilities Committee meets again on May 7th. We meet at 10 o'clock, but at 11 o'clock, we're taking a field trip to Juniper Elementary. And if any of you would like to join us, I'm sure Mr. Thomas could accommodate it.
Tell me that date again.
May 7th, and we probably leave about 11, is that right? From the ASB.
It is a birthday present for me.
It is
The new
Mr.
school.
Robinson's birthday present, yeah. So you're welcome to join us if you'd like to.
Thank you.
I have a couple reports. So from the Salt Lake County Parks and Rec Board, it pleased me to hear that in the first 3 days that families were able to apply for the My County Rec Pass. The top 3 rec center, the rec centers that had the top 3 numbers of students applying for the My County Rec Pass were J.L. Sorensen, Dimple Dell, and Jean Fulmer. And so I feel like in Jordan School District, a lot of families have decided to participate in this amazing program. And I just also wanted to mention something that I found very notable and outstanding at the Salt Lake County Parks and Rec Board meeting. Was there was a student from a neighboring district who saw something happening in parks and put together a presentation and presented it to the board and had gone to other cities and asked for input on this whole situation. And I was so impressed. I felt like this is the goal. And even seeing students willing to make public comments about things that matter to them in the school district, I feel like this is what we're hoping to achieve part of it with the Portrait of a Graduate students that are able to engage with boards and their elected representatives. And then also I would, with the Jordan Ethnic Advisory Committee, I was fortunate to be able to attend a diversity conference with members from GIAC, and I just wanted to say a few words about it. I loved how diversity was defined at this conference, and it's not just about culture or ethnic background, but age, socioeconomic background, your political thought, religion, your familial status, your ability, your education level, all of those things contribute to diversity in an organization. And I just thought that's a good way to think about diversity. We like to have a lot of different thought processes, and also some things that I thought were really, that I heard about inclusion that I really liked is communication is key in inclusion, and it's important to invite diverse perspectives to participate in discussions and giving space for people to share their experiences, and also fostering a sense of shared accountability. And I really like this, seeking opportunities to shine a spotlight on individuals, and a question that I thought was really good, and this is also applies to students, but how is the workforce experiencing the workplace? So how are the students and the employees in Jordan School District experiencing the workplace? And another idea that I found, I know I'm going on and on, it was a good conference, was mentorship versus sponsorship, whereas mentorship, and you probably all know this, but it's something I learned. Mentorship is when you help somebody learn the ropes in an organization or in a field, but then sponsorship is being willing to put your name to that person and recommend them, and saying, I recommend this person, and kind of sponsoring them in their movement in the organization. A big part of inclusion, and especially with diverse groups of people, is being comfortable or getting comfortable with asking questions. And the biggest danger is a funny word to use, but is non-engagement. It's better to ask questions and try to understand where people are coming from and give them space to share their experiences and ideas. Non-engagement is the danger. Anyway, thank you. Oh, and I just wanted to say too, the best part about going was being able, did I mention this, being able to interact with other members of GIAC and finding out, and also Dr. Anderson was there, and finding out about people's thoughts and priorities and their hopes and dreams for the school district, and people have a lot of good vision. Anyway, it was great. It was very positive. So,
regarding the diversity that you talked about, that idea, was there comment on certain places or situations or scenarios where diversity is rather than just making a blanket statement like diversity is important? Are there certain situations or places where diversity is important and other places where it's not? Or I mean, did they talk about that idea of, because I don't know, I hear that term diversity, and it sometimes I don't know exactly what it means or when it works and when it might not work, or.
Well, and like I said, this whole conference was about diversity, and I feel like diversity adds richness. So having teachers of a lot of different ages and different familial status and coming from different socioeconomic and cultural backgrounds adds a lot of richness to their students' education. You know, the people in their class and to the school, and then in the classroom, I think that we're all really different, right? And so I think in the classroom, it adds a lot of opportunities for growth and for students, you know, to interact with people with other students who come from a different background or might have different abilities, you know, and learning to adjust plans or to, and when I say adjust plans, I mean like maybe not being as competitive in that soccer game in order to include people that might not be as good as you. So I think it helps students to have diversity in their classrooms, all different ability levels, but that's my opinion. So,
Thank you. Any other committee reports or comments?
Just the sensitive material committee is probably going to get started. The state hasn't made their board rules yet, but I think we got enough. We can start working on it. So
Dr.
hopefully
Robinson.
we'll bring something back soon.
Sorry, we do anticipate getting an update from the board on May 2nd. They're likely going to be presenting at the board meeting on May 2nd, and we expect that they'll be giving some guidance on LEA requirements for it. But we'll see how that goes between May and July. In the meantime, LEAs have been encouraged to stay with their policy until they get guidance from the state.
Well, we should wait at least until the 2nd.
That's what it sounds like from the latest we've heard.
I retract that. But we're ready. We're ready whenever the state board rules.
Great. I was able to meet with our region PTA this last week. I think you have seen a great example of the outstanding work that they're doing across our district tonight. It's really a pleasure to be able to work with them, and they're always improving the quality of life inside of our schools. We're so grateful for that partnership.
Thank you. Okay, for the Jordan Education Foundation, there's a couple fundraisers coming up. The challenge run is May 11th, and they have an author night on May 16th. You can register for those online. The funds raised for that help pay for things like the Outstanding Educator Awards, Principals Pantries, and other things. And then for Utah School Boards Association, there is a new Master Boards program that you should be getting an email on shortly for that. And then also, I will be in a board of directors meeting for them all day Friday and Saturday in St. George this week, and we will be talking a lot about JLC and how to move forward with that. So if any of you have feedback,
Good luck with
please
that.
let me know. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Okay, and then also, we have a draft of our bulletin board. That's our quarterly newsletter. I've emailed that to you. If you'll get me any feedback that you have on that by Thursday, that would be great, and we'll go ahead and get ready to send that out. May 21st is the retirement dinner, and that is hosted by the board. That is our dinner that we host for those that are retiring from our district, and you should have gotten an invitation to that. Please make sure that is on your calendar. We will have a reception at the beginning where we greet the retirees and then
Should have a time on
recognize them.
6 o'clock.
Is that, okay.
6 o'clock is the reception, 6:30 is
The board members, we'd want to be there by 6. Okay.
Is it for, I thought it was just for ESP. Is it for teachers, everybody?
Everybody retiring this year. Yep. Okay, and then Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up, May 6th through 10th. And I would like to know, as a board, if you would like a letter from our board going out to our teachers, letting them know we appreciate them. Everyone good with that? Okay, I will ask Dr. Godfrey if you can help us draft something, and we'll get a draft to the board.
Will do.
Okay?
Gladly.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
I appreciate a letter from the board, but I think they'd really rather have donuts. But anyways, it would be nice if the board member had a little bit of budget. We can just walk into a school and say thank you. But
Maybe we will
we can
discuss
talk
that in our
later
next
on, but-
amended budget
Amended
discussion.
budget discussion. Because I think they do cherish our letters, but food talks.
And I have something to say too. I think I was the only board member who did the challenge run last year. And so I think you guys need to step it up.
We are being challenged to the challenge run.
I can do a walk. Our bodies are not as young as yours, Lisa. I'll be there.
Thank you. All right, we are at the end of our agenda now. I'll take a motion to go into closed session, and then we'll take a break before we actually.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session for character and competence of individuals, property, potential litigation, negotiations, and security.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Ms. Richards, second by Mr. Robinson to go into closed session. Those in favor, Mr. Dunford.
Yes.
Ms. Dean? Ms. Richards? Ms. George? Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnett?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So that passes unanimously, and we'll go into closed session. Thank you to all of those that are here tonight, especially those students that stayed to the end. Tell your teachers you get extra credit for staying to the end. Thank you for being here.
I made Dennis Edmonds so mad.